Hey, loungers. I hope everybody is doing as great as I am this morning. Listen, guys, I have some time this morning to talk to you guys about some things that have been on my mind in the past few days, or the past couple of days. And I definitely want to get into these things this morning. Okay. There's a lot going on in the sector, as everybody knows. I have some thoughts on these things. Okay. One of the things I wanted to talk about today is regarding Kip and how he is definitely exposing the true agenda of the AFWs. Okay. And we're going to get kind of a little bit deep and take a little bit deeper of a dive into that, what the agenda has always been, what the kinds of things that they usually say, but what his behavior over the past couple of years, and particularly what his behavior in the past couple of weeks has actually shown what their true agenda really is. And it has exposed them to the white meat. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get into that today. We're also going to talk about Gates and how he is kind of like separating himself from Kip and how that kind of makes him and the money team look at this point, okay? Especially with the new allegations that are coming out about Kip currently in regards to his criminal history. All right, so we're going to get into those things today. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button on the way in. Shout out to Bombay. I was able to find the video we were looking for. Okay, so we're going to play that real quick, and then we are going to get right into a quick timer, and then we're going to go ahead and get into the show. But shout out to Bombay. I truly appreciate you, bro, for all that you have done for Black Lounge. Let's get into it, guys.
It's Black Lounge Entertainment, and the time is right with T-Pre.
What's up, unadulterated truth? I appreciate you being in the building. And yes, I always take a little bit of time before the show starts to kind of let people come in and also to make sure everything's working correctly before I start talking. So that's usually what you guys will experience when you come into the chat at the beginning of the show. I know that YouTube has this thing, StreamYard has this thing where you can play an intro first. I just haven't created one yet, but I will be looking to do that because I do plan on doing a little bit more content on the channel at this point. So shout out to y'all for being in the building. You said don't pull a G Gates, man. I don't know. I missed that part of the show, but I heard it on Triggs last night. That was hilarious to know that he was just so muffled and talking for like 20 minutes over all this loud music. And it's funny, he's done that a couple of times. So but anyway, yeah, I've seen Gates do that a couple of times, but it is what it is. Queen Divine, definitely appreciate you being in the building. And shout out to you for being in the clouds. I know a lot of you will probably be in the clouds or catch the replay because, I did not plan this live. This was actually something that I didn't realize I would have some time this morning. So now that I have some time, I'm going to give you guys some quick opinions before I do work today because I'll be working around 12 today. So I'm going to get off of here way before that. but I definitely wanted to give you guys my opinion over what the hell has been going on with Kip, these AFWs, the money team, all this stuff that's come out about our charges and child inward charges and all kinds of stuff that's been happening. I got some thoughts on that, and I'm going to give you guys my opinions on it. Okay. Remix, appreciate you being in the building. Child, Kip been to jail more than you. Okay, like what he Remix. His charges are way worse than anything you could even imagine doing. And these are facts. Okay. You stood on business with your shit and was like, yeah, this is what the fuck happened. It is what it is, right? Listen, you look like Jesus himself compared to this man's background. Okay. And I'm not going to say too much more about that. I'm going to let the chips fall where they may, but I'm going to let you know that I am confidently saying that. Okay. Confidently, I don't give a shit how many times this nigga want to talk about he want to murder women and he's gonna do something to women and do something to me. Bitch, you ain't gonna do shit. Okay, nigga, you ain't gonna do shit. I already know it. You are a pussy ass nigga, and that's not you, Remix. I'm talking about Kip. You are a pussy ass nigga. Okay. Let me just say that from the door before you decide to jump out the window screaming and yelling that you're going to come and do something to T Pre. Okay. I'm letting you know now. A bitch like me is not afraid of you. Okay. I'm not going to call the cops on you. I'm not going to get no TPO on you or nothing. You're going to have to beat me to the courthouse for that because I'm going to fuck you up. Okay. And that's on God. You can come here if you want to talking that shit, okay? And it's not going to turn out the way you want it to. I'm just letting you know, okay? But either way, all right, you know that's just what it is, okay? You are obviously a pussy, okay? So, but yeah, you have a hell. He has a hell of a fucking background, and we're going to get a little bit into that today, and we're going to talk about what led up to this sector, right? How a person like this was able to fly under the radar in our sector for as long as he has been, right? What type of environment that is going on around here that has kind of allowed this kind of behavior. Okay. And I want to talk about that a little bit. Um, this conversation might not be very comfortable, but I'm going to say a few things that I feel like really need to be said, and that people have definitely missed over time. But yeah, girl, yes, remix. Okay, that nigga been to jail more than you, and over much worse shit. Okay, Trig shit definitely looks like, some saintly shit. Okay. These are the types of charges Jesus was getting when he was around, is what Trig's got. Okay. But yeah, the way and what's going on with this dude, I mean, it is fucking wild. It is fucking nuts. Triggs, I appreciate you being in the building. Shout out to you, King, for being in the building. You said, wow, I need a breakdown. Oh, we're going to get into it this morning. Okay. We are definitely going to get into it. You said, oh, he going to beat you to the court. He's got to beat me to the courthouse because I'm not going to put a TPO on him. He's going to need one for me. Okay. That's what the fuck is going to happen. I mean, I'm just saying. Okay. Anyway, I mean, I ain't the toughest bitch in the world, but at the end of the day, I can smell a pussy when I see one. And that's just that. And this bitch right here is just not that dude. This internet thug is just not that guy. Okay. And this is clear. Okay. And we're going to talk about this right now. So let's talk a little bit about Gates first, because he had a really great show yesterday. It was interesting. I actually tuned into it a little bit late, right? I went over there and checked it out. I found all the shenanigans going on in the sector a little late in the day. And so once I saw Gates' show, I was pretty shocked at what he was talking about, right? Because I think, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that we had thought this in the past, right? That Kip was possibly, instead of his son being this person that is responsible for these charges, that it might have been Kip. There was a couple of people that had said that. And I remember, this being a topic but it didn't last very long. Oftentimes, when, in this sector, when somebody that people like, they don't want them to be exposed, right? They'll start throwing out all types of other haymakers, getting people to fight over things. The AFWs are known to do shit like that, right? But there was also a time when Kip was not an AFW. What's up, Black Pearl? Appreciate you being in the building. There was also a time when Kip was not an AFW. Let's keep that in mind. Let's remember that, okay? In the true exposure of what information came out about his allegedly came out about his son, right? Because we're going to say allegedly at this point, because at this point, from what I'm aware of and from what you guys have seen and what you guys are aware of, it appears that it's possible that Kip has been lying on his son this whole time and allowing us to believe that this was his son and not him. Okay. Now, again, there is some other things going on in the making that it's possible that it's both of them that this is actually a thing about. Okay. Because there is allegedly a couple of case numbers, there's allegedly a couple of dates, and so forth. And there's a few different charges on a few different date of births, on a couple of different dates of birth. Okay. And, so with that being said, it is possible that there is, some discrepancies here or there's some situations going on. But ultimately speaking, there is something happening because Kip was able to get on Photon's panel. Shout out to the AFW meeting room, right? The AFW, the criminal organization's meeting room over there at Photon DNA, where they all gather together around the round table and discuss all of their crimes, right? Over there, Kip was able to admit on there that he is well aware of this case, that he was there, right? Romans chapter 1, right? Where they're blinded by the words that they say. They're blinded by their own iniquities. So they just start talking and saying shit and just exposing themselves all over the place, right? And so this dude was on Photon's panel and he had said what he said, that he was there. I mean, Gates played it multiple times. Shout out to Gates, shout out to Raw B. They both played it multiple times. You can't unhear what you heard, right? Multiple times. He said, I was there. I know the story. I know what happened because I was there. These people just want me to tell the story. Kip, we never knew the story for us to want you to tell anything. But when the story broke and the story came out, because your background is now out here, little did you know, right? See, while you're out here trying to expose someone else, I told you the other day, when you dig a grave for somebody else, make sure you're digging a bigger and deeper grave for yourself, right? Because your fall is going to be much worse than the person that you're trying to cut down. And this is exactly what you're seeing, because you came out and exposed that to us yourself. I'm going to tell you what would have happened with the money team had you not done that. And probably with most of the sector. And this is the flaw that I was going to talk about in the sector. It's not a cut at the sector, but it's the truth. We're going to talk truth today. Hold on, y'all. Let me see who's texting me. Hold on, guys. Okay. All right. So let's get into this, because hold on, y'all. Okay. So anyway, let's get into this because I think it's important that we have this conversation today. I really do. Because a few people in a few situations like this have been able to fly under the radar in the sector. There's kind of a fine line when we're online, right? When we're in a space where we don't know each other, we don't really know what is happening with people and different things like that. So we try not to us normal people, right? We generally try not to get into people's personal lives and people's personal business, right? That makes sense. It's not our business what's happening in your criminal history. It's not our business where you work. It's not our business where you live. None of that should matter when it comes to anything concerning our internet drama, anything we got shit we talk to each other, or any of that. None of that should be relevant, right, to any of the things we talk about, which the majority of us have kept it at that, right? There's a couple of us, including myself, who have exposed people, right? Usually for a good reason, but there's a few of us that have done that. But ultimately, the majority of the sector has not played the exposure game. They have not played that role of putting people out here, exposing people's information and stuff like that. The majority of us have not done that, right? The issue is kind of like what we allow and what we have allowed for so long. And, people that we dislike, people forming up like Voltron to go against those people, right? And that can form a problem. It can. It can form an issue, right? It might seem like that happens all across the board in different places, but it really doesn't as much as we think. No, see, there was a group called the Good Guys at one time, right? And it was this whole idea, even blogs being written and all kinds of stuff that this group of people was some type of criminal organization. And that these people were running around and we all had the same mindset and the same agenda and everybody was going after, the AFWs, and it was us on this side, on this group of good guys that were the ones that were doing all these big bad terrible things, right? And a lot of people in the space agreed with that agenda. They agreed with that idea, right? To this day, some people don't even understand why they hate TC and D Durrell so fucking much, right? They come up with all these reasons for why. It's all this stuff, right? But when you break it down and you put it down to layman's terms, they can't really explain why they fucking hate these guys. They really can't. They can't give you an honest explanation for why. It's always some stupid ass reason, right? Nothing that really has affected their real lives, nothing that's really affected anything in their, real personal life or anything like that. They just hate these guys and have a hatred for them that is so strong that when they see somebody, even who they know is immoral or amoral in attacking them, they still find a way to make what they're doing okay and normalized. And they've done it in the sector over and over and over again. They drop down in chats, they go on panels, and they agree with this kind of behavior. And this has been happening since the beginning of the sector. These are facts. These are facts. You can go back to anybody's channels, anybody's space, and look and see that that's been a thing. And it's always been, generally speaking, from that particular side of the camp where these rumors always come from. And then everybody just kind of goes with these silly rumors, and then next thing you know, it blooms and blossoms into these types of things that we see today. Hey, P and beautiful Bernice and Miss Murphy, I appreciate you guys being in the building. So The next group I want to talk about is the smoke gang, right? The same kind of thing was going on with that, you know. And it wasn't so much even and it wasn't even so much from the AFWs at first. It was it was the good guys, right? So the good guys and the smoke gang, they were going back and forth with each other, right? And there was this idea that Smoke had the women over in that sector, in that space, thinking a certain way, carrying on a certain way, and Smoke played a role in that thought. And then Darrell and the good guys, they had their thoughts on things, and they would think different things, and they would say different things, and each one of them and their opinions about stuff formed a thought pattern about the women that were on that panel, right? And from that came all types of shit. T-shirt gate, right? The women were jealous, this and that. To this day, right? We still got a bird brain bitch running around the sector claiming that all the women are in the sector that were in that space were jealous of her because of the rumors and because of the nonsense carrying on in the space of people keeping up these types of thoughts, right? What's up, Smoke? Appreciate you being in the building. This all went on for years. Now we got a new set of chicks, right? Some of us are from the smoke gang. Some of us are from the good guys. Some of us are new to the sector. And we come in and now we got a name too, right? And we got an agenda too. And we all were, we're all being led by Triggs and we're all being led down this path of destruction, right? Every single time these rumors come about, right? Most times. I gave you guys one example of between the smoke gang and the good guys. But prior to that, and then after that, right? It's usually from that space that these rumors always start, right? And usually it's them always like, they are the upstanding people. They are the ones that follow the law, right? They are the ones that, everything is always wonderful on their side. And, they have judges and FBI and police in their pockets, right? They've got, all types of stuff where if anything is going on, they can go to these authorities and they can get the help that they need for the abuse that they claim that they are receiving on the internet, right? This has been the running story of that camp for many years now. We're talking 10 years or more now, right? At least 6 years for me in this sector that I've been around the sector. That this is the kind of back and forth that I've seen, and that the sector has kind of been lax in checking, in a sense. But I get it. Nobody wants to control anybody, right? Nobody wants to tell everybody where to go or make anybody go where they want to go, right? And all this other stuff. But ultimately, that is what has allowed people like Kip, right, to fly under the radar. Because he goes against, for whatever the time being is, we're going to go down his little timeline. He goes against whoever somebody else dislikes at the time. How Kip fell out with Mia Mines and Grown Man to begin with was him trying to get at Mia Mines on behalf of Shakim Ra. That's how Kip fell out with them. That's how Kip got dragged for his fucking life by Grown Man, her husband, who wasn't tolerating that shit from him, right? Notice the pattern of behavior from this man. When Kip was first around in D Darrell's chat, that was years ago. He wasn't as vocal and talking as crazy as he is now. He started hanging out with Shakim. Over there was P. And we know you. I see you, P, in the chat. Hey, Keeper. Appreciate you being in the building. And P, I see you in the chat. But you was over there with them too, right? Y'all was all hanging out at one time. P caught on. He figured the fuck out what was going on. But ultimately, this was why he fell out with Me and Mines and Grown Man. Is because he wanted to take on a battle for his prize. Shakim, shout out to my brother Shakim. But he wanted to take on a battle for the prize, right? And fight on his behalf. But he wanted to do it quietly and subtly and peacefully and everything, and act like his hands wasn't involved. Act like he wasn't the one doxing them and giving Shakim that information, right? He wanted to act like it wasn't him that was providing this information. I don't have no proof of that, but I'm just speculating and I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Okay. Now, he was the one handing that information to Shakim and going at them, quietly, like he does, like the bitch and the coward that he is, right? See, he don't want to fight by himself. He don't want to fight on his own. He hides behind people to fight for him, right? Same thing the AFW's been doing for years, but let's just stick to Kip real quick because we're going to get to them. Okay? We're going to get to them. You said he absolutely did. I know for a fact. Exactly. Okay. So I'm right. Okay? I'm right. He was giving their information to Shakim so Shakim can dox Me and Mines. Me and Mines fought back. Okay? And what happened was she was quote unquote cool with Anti at the time. Shout out to me. She know what I'm saying. She was cool with Anti at the time. Gerald and Anti were in and have been in the business of doxing and sending people's information around for many years. Right? Anti and Gerald made sure that April got that information about Kip's son. Right? But with this information that has come out about Kip, because all of those AFWs, they know each other's background information. You understand? Like Anti has all of y'all AFW's information. She already knew where you live, Star. She already knew where you work, Star. She already had your social security number, Star. She already knew your date of birth. Same shit with Breaking. The same shit with Gerald. She knows all of y'all shit. Anti knows all of y'all shit, just in case, right? Photon? She knows all of your shit. Just in case she needs to hold that shit over y'all motherfucking head, right? While she got y'all doing her dirty work here on these YouTube streets, right? Right. See, we always wonder what the fuck this bitch got over y'all niggas' heads. I got y'all niggas crashing out like idiots, right? See, we gonna free you bitches today, right? In the name of Jesus, we gonna free you niggas today, okay? See, Star, we already figured out what she had over your head, right? There's probably more, but we figured out now that your family don't fuck with you, right? So she had you riled up to talk about my family, to talk about Divine's family, Raw's family, every woman's fucking family out here. All while she got over your head that your kids don't even fuck with you, bitch. So you know she can use that against you, right? To get you to do the fuck shit. Gerald, what the fuck does she got on you? Why you squirming like that? After all these letters to the attorney general, your wife, your job, right? To your church are now coming out the woodwork, right? Because Raw B ain't the only one. You know that, Gerald. You know this, Gerald. So what the fuck does Anti got over your fucking head? That she knows about you. That's got you tripping the fuck out on the internet. And finally, Donald motherfucking Winters. Donald Paul Winters. Age 55. Yeah, you almost 60 years old, bitch. 1970. Donald Winters. What does your mammy have over you? No, I can't call her your mammy. I gotta call her your sister. Because y'all in the same age bracket, right? What does your sister got on you? What did she know about you that whole time? When Gerald got that information to April 4 years ago, 5 years ago, right? You mean to tell me you don't think Anti knew then about your aggravated child molestation charges from January of 2010? Please don't say it wasn't you, sir. Please do not, by God, say it wasn't you. Do not do that to yourself, sweetheart. Don't say it. Don't do it. See, I don't say shit on this motherfucker. I told y'all I require receipts. I require them. So if I'm saying it, if I'm actually repeating that, it's clear I've seen the receipts. And it's clear I've vetted the receipts as well. So you don't think Anti knew all 5 of these fucking years that you're a convicted pedophile of a minor child, at least 16 or younger? You don't think she knew? Because if I have seen with my own eyes now, if I have seen it, I know she did, because she saw your sons. And see, your son ain't in the sector, right? You're in the sector. And guess what? You were her common enemy at the time. Because they've always hated Shaquem. They've always hated him, right? Always. And they knew you were helping Shaquem, Doc's April, and Doc's grown man. And so they doxed you. So, be golly, the AFWs say, right? The AFWs, right? The AFWs say, and their agenda has always been that they are law-abiding citizens, that they stand on business when it comes to fighting fraud, fighting rogue public servants, right? This has always been what Andrea Stewart, the leader of the criminal organization called the Anti-Fraud Warriors LLC there in El Cajon, California. That woman has always said that the AFWs stand on business when it comes to crime, being crime free. We never commit crimes. We do everything that is law abiding. But Kip exposed that that agenda is a fake and a farce. See, we already knew anyway. We've been telling it and talking the shit about it, but he exposed it. Okay? Because y'all have been running around for every bit of 2.5 years with this man's information, right? Distributing it to multiple people. Multiple people. Some of those people have now made peace with the King Triggs. Shout out to them. But some of y'all have not. Some of y'all are still trying to joke and talk your shit and all this stuff, but yet you were part of these same criminal organizations, and I say with an S, right? That this man has been running, has been a part of, and has been the face of. See, Anti took the back seat. See y'all haven't been paying attention. Anti has taken a back seat. She has even been distancing herself from Kip's online behavior without denouncing him. So she's not saying we don't do what Kip does, and she's been actually trying to egg Kip on to keep continuing because she really hates that nigga. Really. Once she hates you, she hates you. She doesn't start liking you. That never happens with her. It never happens with her. Once she hates you, she always hates you. Star. Kip. Yeah. There's no making up with her. Okay? So she don't mind that your dumbass is walking smooth off a fucking 100-foot cliff. She doesn't care. Right? She doesn't give a fuck whether you go to prison, which you're on your way to, because I'm gonna get into that too. But let's go back a little bit. I don't want to get lost. I have notes, but I'm telling y'all, sometimes it just what I need to say, it just come to my spirit. Kip, you in trouble, man. Just saying. You in big trouble. Because none of us thought. We thought about it for like a split second, right? But then we moved on because somebody that some people in the sector don't like was being attacked. And people were jumping ship to go talk about that. So we never revisited the shit about Kip. But Kip has said some things over the years that has most definitely looked like this is true. One of the things he said, I'll never fucking forget it, because I actually talked about it, and I don't remember where it was, but I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find that timestamp. Kip said when he was trying to prove that he's not sexually involved with Shakim, right, and that he doesn't like men, he was trying to prove that by saying that he purposely gets with women that has kids. That's what that nigga said. And me have raised my children, right, as a single mom, that sounded very predatory to me. And I remember saying it. I remember it just did not sound right for a man his age to be saying that. Like, you could say something like, I get with women. I like real women. I like women with childbearing hips or something like that. That would have been something different. But for him to say, I purposely get with women who have children, they have little children. That means they can have kids. That was so disgusting. It was so weird for a man his age to think like that. Some of us have children when we're a little older in life, right? So it's perfectly fine in that situation. It's not when you're at grandparent stage and all of your kids are in their 30s and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And you trying to get with women that are younger than your children to have children. While she has, you're not even saying to have children. You're saying you want to get with a woman that has children. What? How is that? How does that prove you're a man? I don't understand, right? How does that prove you're not gay? That doesn't make sense to say that. That sounds very predatory. And look at him. Sure enough, that's what your background says. I don't give a fuck how many times you call me a bust down, a hoe, a slut. There ain't nothing on my background that says that. But your background, Kip, says that you were convicted, not charged. Those cases have been dispositioned. Convicted of statutory rape, aggravated child molestation, and child molestation. January 31st, 2010. And I triple fucking dare you. I quadruple fucking dare you. Okay? I quintuple dare you to say it ain't you. I dare you. I dare you. Because like I said, I require receipts. And I seen it with my own two eyes. I can't unsee what I've seen. So it is what it is. It just is what it is. I don't care who believes it, who doesn't. Listen, let me tell you motherfuckers on the money team some shit. I see you, Gates, trying to get on the right side of history, right? I see you. I ain't got too much to say about it. I feel like that's a prime example of what I meant about if somebody that you don't like is being attacked by somebody somebody that you do like, you just go with whatever they say and go with whatever they do, and little do you know that person has an agenda the whole time. A disgusting, nasty, demonic agenda the entire time. But yeah, these AFWs have spent years saying that the reason why they collect people's information is so that they can open up court cases against people, so that they can file charges against people, so that they can file TPOs, protective orders, all these things against people. But what Kip exposed about them is not only do they accept criminals, full-blown criminals, into their organization, because we know now that we know that Anti is the one that provided and Gerald are the ones which are the leaders of the organization, right? They are the ones that are the top leaders of this criminal organization called the Anti-Fraud Warriors, LLC. If they are the ones that provided me and mines with Kip's or Donald Paul Winter's son's background, who is not a part of the sector, who was not one of their enemies, If they provided that, what makes you think they did not already know what I know? What makes you think they did not already see what I've seen? So Anti has known for years, Kip, at least 5 years. We can at least go back to the date of April's video. I believe it was in 2021 when that video came out. It might have been 2022. So maybe 4 to 5 years, right? At least since then, that the AFWs, the leaders of the anti-fraud warriors, the criminal organization called the Anti-Fraud Warriors, Andrea Stewart and Gerald Palmer, have been aware of this man being a convicted child predator. And they have used him as the face of the organization for at least the past 2 years to dox, harass, and stalk a man and his children. And his children. For the past couple of years. Now that we are aware of all of that, right? Let's put that into perspective with what we're seeing today with Kip, right? With Donald Paul Winters, the one that's the now face of this criminal organization called the Anti-Fraud Warriors, who was accepted into this Anti-Fraud Warrior organization as a known pedophile. This person has been running around talking about he's going to go after Tiggs and he's going to go after drama. I got you, Corey. I got you, Gates. I got you, Allen. I'm going to be the big bad wolf and help you, because Gates, you were right. That nigga got beat up so motherfucking much as a child. He probably got abused so much as a child. That's all he knows is to yell and scream and to be the big bad wolf now, because he's never been that. So this is the only space that he's welcome to do that, because this is what the criminal organization called the Anti-Fraud Warriors, these are the types of people that they accept into that organization, right? But this guy has been running around for 2 years, harassing and stalking this man and his children. Keep in mind, he has this type of background, this pedophile background. And please, again, Kip, don't say it ain't you. Don't say it ain't you. He has this pedophile background, and he's doing these things with this man and his children. This man finally was able to get a temporary protective order against him, an ex parte hearing, because keep in mind, in order for him to get that protective hearing, he had to prove to that court, because he got an actual hearing the same day. They didn't just write him a protective order and he walked out the door. No, that's not what happened. He had to go to the court. He had to prove to the court that he was actually being stalked. So they gave it to him. And they made sure that Kip has to follow these rules. And if he doesn't, he's in violation of this temporary protective order. Here's the kicker, right? Here's the thing that we're not reading between the lines with. See, we know now that Kip is dodging service on this protective order. And please, and I love you, Bombay, but please stop telling that man to not answer that order. Please do not say that, okay? Because what he's doing, he cannot, answer that if he wants to. And what's going to end up happening is he's going to be held in contempt of court, and there will be a warrant out for his arrest, right? The reason being is because he is on video acknowledging the court proceedings. That doesn't necessarily mean, and I will say that, it doesn't necessarily mean that he has been legally served. However, it does mean that he is aware of the court proceedings. So if he doesn't show up to those court proceedings that a judge has ordered him to appear for, he will now be held in contempt of court. So please don't tell him, just ignore it. Just don't go. Well, if he doesn't go, he didn't get served. Because y'all are not his attorneys. None of y'all are going to be there to help this man get out of jail. Do you understand? And see, he knows that too, y'all. Okay? See, Kip knows that. Maybe he's smarter than you. I don't know. But Kip knows that. And I'm going to tell you why Kip is now skipping out on this shit. Because see, in light of us knowing about these charges, in light of us knowing about these convictions of child molestation, statutory rape, and aggravated child molestation. So you need to find out what aggravated child molestation is while he's committing aggravated stalking, right? A person that has a background like that and all of a sudden now has picked up a charge of stalking with a minor involved in the stalking, Kip is facing years in prison if he goes to that courthouse and he shows up, right? Or if he lets the police come get him, right? He's facing years in prison with this type of background. See, is that why you got to go to the coffee shop and you got to go to a truck stop and a Chick-fil-A and a fucking Popeyes to go live, Kip? Is that why, Kip, you're not able to go and answer this paperwork? Because if it was me and I was saying that my family was in danger and that my family was such in danger and my children were fearing for their lives and I'm fearing for my life to the point where I got to go look up this person's information and pass it around and and warn everybody and let everybody protect themselves from this big bad monster. I would have took that paperwork and I would have filed a protective order. Or if this person filed a protective order against me, the first I would be breaking my fucking neck to get to that courthouse. I would be breaking my neck to get to that courthouse to file a counterclaim against you. Right, Kip? Right, Anti? Right, Rev G? But y'all don't have a leg to stand on because that's never been the agenda of the anti-fraud warriors. It has never been the agenda of the anti-fraud warriors to collect people's data in order to take them to court or take them to get charges against them or any of that. It has always for years been the agenda of the Anti-Fraud Warrior LLC criminal organization ran by Andrea Stewart and Gerald Palmer. It has always been the agenda of that organization to do exactly what Kip has been doing for the past 2.5 years. And that is intimidate, stalk, harass, and anything else that they can do to the people of this space, including our families and our children. That's a problem. That's a problem. So I get it, Gates, that you are separating yourself from that, right? But again, the hard truth of this is If you dislike somebody and somebody is in the sector is going against somebody you dislike for whatever the reason is, you are willing to overlook anything and everything that they do. And if anybody says anything to you or sounds the alarm about that person, instead of you just taking the time to look at it and see for yourself, right? Require receipts, right? No, you'd rather protect their image and protect their agenda because their agenda matches yours. Or at least the undertones of their agenda matches yours. Right? That's been the issue with the sector for years. And today I wanted to rip the Band-Aid off and talk about it. But yeah, that's why you're dodging service. Because you know, Kip, and I see y'all comments. I see you make a change. I'll get in there in a second. Because I know that some of y'all like to only drop down when you want to correct us. And you're always found to be on the wrong side of history, even if you're not intending to. This is why some people are getting told about themselves recently. Because you look a certain way when you do that. Even if you don't want it to look, I don't give a fuck if you want it to look like that or not. This is how you look. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. But when the paperwork comes down, please, by all means, do not say you haven't been told. Let me get into y'all comments, and then I actually do want to end the show because I got some stuff I want to do. Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. I appreciate everybody in here. Definitely appreciate everybody in the building. Yes, he absolutely did know for a fact, right? Okay. You said, hold on. I don't know why StreamYard be acting so stupid, man. He said, I gave Shakim information on April also. That's why Kip was my friend. Okay. You said exactly. You said, Siri, play just in case, okay? You said, it's got to be good. She definitely knows. She has to know. You said, wait a damn minute, not the son. So I'll say this. There's two separate cases with two separate names and two separate dates of birth. One of them is a date of birth of 1991. Let me look at it real quick. Matter of fact, so I don't give y'all any incorrect information. I'll look at it again. Like I said, Kip, please don't say I'm lying. Please don't say Raw's lying. Please don't say anybody's lying, sir. Please don't say that, okay? Just for your sake, I've warned people before, right? To not don't say this ain't you, because I will show that it's you, okay? Please don't test me, sir. Don't fucking text you fuck around and find out. I'll just say that. But yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me find it real quick. I'm not going to show anybody yet, but I got it. I got it. And sir, if you're in fear for your life of me having that, take me to court. Take me to court, knuckle. Like you be saying, knuckle. Take me to court, knuckle. All right, so this date of birth is May of 1970. Age 55, Donald Paul Winters. Donald P. Winters. He has some aliases as well. Mm-hmm. He was born in Mississippi. Mm-hmm. I got your phone number. Mm-hmm. I got all your emails. Oh yeah, you got that was foreclosed. Hmm. Yep, let's go. Let's go down here real quick to these good old charges. These good old charges. You have currently have us driving on a suspended license, sir. I mean, you are currently driving on a suspended license while you out here talk about Triggs riding dirty, okay? And you showing body cam footage and shit like that. You are currently driving on a suspended license, sir. Uh, and then we got hold on. Mhm. Another offense was theft by shoplifting. April 25th, 2011. Okay. So again, some of these things that we thought was his son is actually him because the date of birth on here is 1970. And then we have the killer. January 31st, 2010, 2 counts. Aggravated child molestation, where you pled nolle prosequi, you know what that is, nolle prosequi. On that, January 31st, 2010, statutory rape, 1 count of that. So was it 2 or 3 different people? Because mind you, we wouldn't know because we can't get this case from the courts because these cases are sealed because these were minor children at the time. But it's still on his record. But he thought if the cases were sealed, that his record is also sealed. No, sir, that's not the case. November 12th, 2010, the plea was guilty on that one for statutory rape, 1 count. You were sentenced on the guilty plea on June 10th, 2011. The case type was an indictment, and you were sentenced. January 31st again, all the same case number, but it's a different case number on his sons because I have that too. This one is, for this one, you got child molestation is the offense. You pled guilty and you served 5 years of probation for that charge alone, which is sickening. So, Donald Winters, the reason why you can't catch any other charges, right? Because if you catch another serious crime charge like this, stalking of a minor child and all these things, they're going to want to put you under the jail. Is that right, Donald? Is that why you are running like you are? Is that why you won't answer these cases? Hmm? Is that why? Why did you lie on your own son? Why did you let us do your son like that? Your son does have charges against him as well. And it's funny because your son's charges, one of them was a couple of days after this one. Mm-hmm. It was, I believe it was February 2nd or February 4th of the same year. Mm-hmm. He was pretty young then. Yeah. But you were 40. And you admitted. You said, I was there. I know what happened. Well, what happened? Because you pled guilty. According to your criminal history, you pled guilty on January 31st, 2010 to aggravated child molestation, a nolle prosse on that, statutory rape. You got 9 months probation for that. And then you had child molestation, 5 years probation on that. But the aggravated, it doesn't say. It doesn't say, it just says you got nolle prosse on that. So I don't know. Perhaps they made the charges lower by giving you statutory rape and different things like this. And so they gave you probation. But again, Donald Winters, right? Donald Winters, living at, I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say your address. But I see it. So say it's not you. Please, I double dog dare you to say it's not you. Because I'm looking at it. I'm literally looking at your background. Not me just looking at a screenshot, not me just looking at something that somebody sent me as a screenshot of what they want me to see. No, I got your full dossier, bitch. And I'll be the one to release it. Fuck around and find out. And say it's not you. But yeah, your son got charges too. But the fact that Anti knew that your son had them charges, she also knew you did. And that's what she holds over your head. Nasty motherfucking work. What's up, Darrell? Appreciate you being in the building. You said, Keeper, it was always something about Kip's nasty ass. Hey, Damu, appreciate you being in the building. Yes, it was. It was always something about him. And like I said, I'll never forget that time he said that shit about getting with women that have little kids and stuff. I was like, why would an old man his age want to get with women that have little kids? He has grandchildren. All his children are grown. So he should be ready to, do other things that somebody who doesn't have children does, right? These are things you look forward to once your children are grown and moved out and you got grandchildren and stuff like that. You look forward to other things. And I don't know about starting over again with a new family, right? That's just weird. That's weird. That's not a natural progression in life. You said D Darrell. You said yep. You said Kip talks too much because he's smart. Okay, he's always smarter than everybody else. You said they don't know how to let stuff go. They just keep going and going and going and going. And no, he's only doing this because literally this is the only way he can save face. Because, or at least he thought, right, that he could save face. Because he can't go to that courthouse. He can't show up at that. See, he could show up at that courthouse as long as he was under the radar, right? As long as nobody knew that he was up there to stalk, Triggs, right? As long as nobody knew that and only the sector knew that, and he was only getting the public opinion of the sector on it, right? Everything was fine. But once his name came up in their system as somebody doxing, stalking, harassing not only a man, but his children, his minor children also, and he has these types of charges and convictions on his background, that's the reason why he's been dodging the police. That's the reason why he doesn't want to go to the courts And this has always been the true agenda of the anti-fraud warriors. Y'all always had this agenda to dox, intimidate, stalk, harass, and only that. Not bring charges, not be victim, not you're not a victim, any of that. You want to victimize. And that's all you've done. All you've done. And that's all Kip has done. And Anti damn sure ain't got your back. She is literally at this moment separating herself from your behavior. I haven't looked up anybody's information. I haven't passed around any of this man's she said any of this man's information. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. That was her words. She left you out the fucking dry, Kip. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now she got to leave you out to dry. Because now it looks like she's aiding and abetting known pedophiles. A pedophile. She knew you were a pedophile. And she's aiding and abetting you in trying to dox, harass, intimidate, and stalk a man and his female child, his minor daughter. See, Photon, see, when you say you ain't doing nothing wrong, you just a journalist, right? This is how embedded you are in this. Now you're recorded with this criminal organization called the Anti-Fraud Warriors, with them in your space, aiding and abetting a convicted child predator with stalking, harassing, intimidating, doxing a minor child from your platform. And you think that because this is YouTube and you are an anti is giving you this crazy legal advice, well, she's not a lawyer. She's not an attorney, and she damn sure ain't gonna pay for your lawyer fees. Okay? But this is what you're aiding and abetting a convicted pedophile of doing. And she's aware of him being a convicted pedophile. She knew. If she knew about his son, she knew about him. Mm-hmm. Trust me. If she knew about his son, she knew about him. So you are, this is what and how and the extent of your involvement, Photon. Yeah, you might not be going in the computer and pulling it up and distributing it, right? You might not be doing that, but you're receiving it. And not only are you receiving it, but you are distributing it when you play it on your videos, when you upload it to your show, and when you play it to your audience, and when you show it to your audience, this is, you are aiding and abetting a convicted pedophile of stalking, harassment, intimidation, humiliation of not only a man, but also his minor children. This is what you're doing, Photon. While you're trying to stay in bed with Anti and Andrea Stewart over there for God knows what. Yeah, what does she have on you? What is going on in your background and in your life that she's holding over your head that's got you doing this? You could talk all the shit y'all want. You welcome to go live and make the whole show about me. It's not changing the facts here. It's just not. It's not changing the actual facts. It's not changing that he's already admitted to this on your own channel, on your panel. The same show that you're using to aid and abet this man, this convicted pedophile. Convicted pedophile. Not charged, convicted. I'm saying it with my fucking chest. Convicted pedophile. You are aiding and abetting him in doing this. This is how serious this is. This is how serious this is for you, Photon, while you are taking financial and legal advice from a bitch that can't even help herself out of this situation. See, she can't go down by herself. She want to take everybody with her. All her friends. All of you motherfuckers that she's held stuff over your heads. But y'all could be free today. Y'all could be free today. Because now what you gonna do? See, y'all can't stand on business no more. Y'all can't stand on Mount Ararat no more. Right? And yell, y'all are against fraud, and y'all are against crimes, and y'all are against all this other. Y'all can't say that no more. Because Kip is now the face of the AFWs. And Kip is a convicted child molester. And not only is he a convicted child molester, but he's literally running from the police currently as we speak. Literally running from an ex parte for stalking, harassing, intimidating a man and his minor children. And these anti-fraud warriors are aiding and abetting along with it. But y'all could be free, right? Y'all could stop. And perhaps there will be some mitigation here, right? In between. Because that's all it appears that this righteous man is trying to do. Stop the nonsense. Stop the harassment. Stop the stalking. He brought up such a great point, because that's the first thing I thought, Triggs, when I seen Breaking and them saying, oh, he lied to the cops. Look at him. That's not the right address. Look. Why do you think he does not give them his real address? Y'all proved why. Because the first thing you did, as soon Anti admitted, the first thing she did, as soon as she got an address that she thought she could look up, not so she can actually take you to court, not so she can actually file charges against you, but so she can stalk, harass, and intimidate you and humiliate you. This was their agenda. And you were able to prove that. Shout out to Triggs. You're able to prove that so easily from their own behavior. Romans chapter 1. They are blinded by their own iniquities. You just moving about, just to and fro, just roaming about, just doing anything and everything. And you're not even paying attention to your own actions. And that your own actions have got y'all in a trick bag. All the way down to your awareness, Anti. Or I'm going to start calling you by your name, Andrea Stewart, the owner and CEO of the criminal organization called the Anti-Fraud Warriors. You have been aware of this man's criminal history this whole entire time. And Gerald, so were you. You were also aware of Kip's criminal history this entire time. You know how I know, Gerald? I'm going to tell you how I know. No, I'm not going to tell you how I know. But you know I know. You were absolutely aware of it as well, and I say that with my chest. Mhm. You were. You and Anti. Y'all have known this whole time that a pedophile has been running around this community. You've had a pedophile in touch with breaking the culture. You've had a pedophile in touch with Stargate. These two women, because you don't give a fuck about any of these people in your camp, Andrea Stewart. You don't give a fuck whether these women are standing up for pedophiles or not, because that's what they've been doing, standing up for a pedophile, a convicted one, and you knew it. Hmm. You just held that over his head and you hid that, and you just exposed his son, but you kept his secret. Mm. Let me get through y'all comments and then I gotta go, guys. You said this shit is crazy. It gets worse, right? It can't get worse than this, though. You said she's always in the back seat. She lets other people do her dirty work. Exactly. She uses people like him, convicted pedophiles, right? All kinds of weirdos, people with family agendas, family issues, and things like that to do her dirty work for her. And is that why Kip's sons hate him? Because they know what he be doing? They know where they got it from? You said, I noticed that too, TBV. You said she be telling him what to say and shit, SMDH. She's the one that's telling him to run from the police right now. Don't go to that courthouse. All while knowing he's a convicted pedophile, because if he goes to that courthouse and they grab his ass up, it's over. Kip, you facing at least 10 years for this new aggravated stalking charges you got, which is a felony. You're facing at least 10 years with that background. You said Big Mama run the house. Yep. You said, yes, keeper. She had Mona go after me for no reason. You said, oh, I'm sorry. She was angry at KKC. You said Hawkspit knew to get his funky ass out the way. He got right the fuck up out the way. Shout out to Smoke. You said keeper. You said very much T Pre. You said I remember the whole fiasco. What's up, Spotum? You said my baby will be 24 on Friday. That's what's up. That's what's up. You said if these allegations are true, then folks need to keep the same energy for him that they have for others. I know for a fact these allegations are 100% true. Sir, if I'm lying, take me to court. Sue me, just like I told Carrie's ass, right? Carrie, yeah, I heard you this morning. I'm fucking lying, right? If I'm lying, bitch, how come you haven't taken me to court yet, ho? Why? You know why? Because I ain't lying. It's my chart, bitch. Period. You could be mad. I ain't taking that from you. You welcome to be mad. But honey, ain't nobody lying on you, because if I was lying on you, guess what? You wouldn't be back on the internet talking about it. You would have done took my ass to court by now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But see, truth, you know, is an absolute defense to defamation. There is no defamation between me and you, Carrie. Nobody lied on you. You absolutely have HIV and you absolutely have HPV, ma'am. I said it again. And I said it with my chest. And there ain't a motherfucking thing you gonna do about it, because it's the fuck true. And it's your fault that we know. So moving on. Anyway, but yes, these allegations are a fact, Kip. And you know it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, Brixton, appreciate you being in the building. He says Smoke's still living in the past. He said, I haven't heard anything about Darrell, Ray, or drama that's as horrible as Oh, and Kay? They're talking about traffic tickets. They're talking about all these things. But this man is a convicted pedophile. I mean, he is convicted. It just is what it is. You said it was 2021. I told Kip they was going to go after him in my interview with Let Me See Your Transcript. What? Hold on, Bernice. Let me drop the link real quick. Bernice, if you can hit the link. Anybody can hit the link. It don't really matter. But I'm about to drop this link. I remember that I remember that interview, but I didn't watch the whole thing. Like I skipped through it because at the time, me and you wasn't cool, and me and Let Me See Your Transcript wasn't cool. And so I did a review of that video from a very biased point of view. So I definitely did. So you can hit the link and let me know about that. You said, Darrell, you just happy that I mentioned your group, bro. I'm not even thinking about you. You got the face to deal with. Enjoy my life. Peace out. You say, yo, Darrell, you got a lot. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, okay, y'all. Okay, y'all. You know I fuck with both of y'all. Okay. Child, listen. Back to the jacuzzi. Go back to the jacuzzi. You said smoke finally in the jacuzzi. You know what, y'all? Hey, Teresa. I appreciate you, sissy, in the building. Okay, okay, okay. Hey, Lorna, appreciate you being in the building as well. I can't highlight y'all comments no more, y'all. I'm gonna have to see what y'all saying first. You said Darrell. Okay, hold on. Hey,
Hey sis, what's up?
hey, but what's going on, girl? I didn't. Okay, so tell me about that. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I had mentioned that in my interview with Let Me See a Transcript. They had just started going at him. They may have like said something nasty to him for the last week or something, and they was just ready to go at him, and he didn't understand. And I told him I don't know what it was that was going on between him and Smoke and April, but I told Kip, I said, Kip, that is the reason why they're going after you right now. Now, if you go to my live I had with her, if it's still
I'll
up,
go. I'm gonna look at it because I
yeah,
reviewed that video, so I'm gonna go back
yeah,
and look at it later
hmm
on.
but I
But,
actually mentioned that.
okay,
hmm
okay. So this happened in 21 then for sure.
For sure, because
Now,
I know I did not have my interview in 2021, because that's when they started attacking me with this with what's her name, April, and everything, and that's why
I
I had the
understand.
interview.
I love April. I want to say that. That's my
Yeah,
baby.
I
I
don't
fuck
have no
with her.
problem with her as long as she
Yeah.
leaves me alone. I
Well, I
don't know why
think,
she
hold
did
on. Let me
that.
say something. I want to say something. I think the issue with y'all has been anti.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was. It
And,
was definitely.
perhaps those issues may not be able to be resolved or whatever. But the ultimate issue is neither one of you are really necessarily the problem. It was anti,
It was
right?
anti-Afro Svengali. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well, a grown man actually admitted that she paid them to do what he was doing.
Yeah,
So
I did an interview with them on that. But either
yeah.
way, yeah, I wanted to get to the bottom of that particular part because
hmm
I thought that was interesting to know. And I wondered if you knew that because you were hanging around them at one time.
Well, that's the whole thing. You remember she was bothering Glow Glow.
Yes.
Glorion said something to her in Smoke's room, and that's when she just started going off the hinge, Afro Svengali. She just started going crazy after everybody, and the first person that she wanted to bring down was Glow.
No,
Then
I'm
she
not talking
then
about that. I'm talking about for Kip.
Yeah,
Like, how did
that
you
it
know
was
that
all
they
in
were
that
going
room
after Kip?
together. We was all in the room together, and he said something off color to Smoke, and you know how she is about Smoke. And all of a sudden, it was like, okay, I'm going after this nigga now. And I told Kip that I can't remember what it was that he said in Smoke's live, but that set it off for him and for her, and she just started going after him. And
So
then
Kip said something disrespectful because I know that Kip and Smoke have not always been friends. I
I
know
don't know
that
if
for
he
a
said
fact.
something, if he said something disrespectful about April. I don't know who he said something. Who said something different disrespectful to him, but it was somebody that was close to Afro Svengali. So she started going after Kip, and I think that's
Okay.
why Shakim Ross started going after Kip, because that started getting close with Kip. just to, to get him, just to start arguing with April. Now you remember Shaquem Rod was very close with AAS too, but then he left her alone. And then
Right.
they
He
started
wasn't
going
really
after
close with
Shaquem
her,
Rod
but
too.
he was more close with the AFWs at
Yeah,
the
he
time.
started going
Yeah.
then he started, going after she started going after him, and then
Right.
Kip and him
Right.
hooked up together, going after her together.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I don't know what it was that Kip said, but I told Kip, I said, they're gonna start going after you. I said,
Well, Kip
I
was
said, I
going.
don't know. Well,
Well,
if
Kip
you
was.
wanted to know, Kip, this is the reason why they going after you. I directly told him just like that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why. Kip was doing. He was doxing April
Mm.
behind the
Oh,
scenes
okay.
for Shaquem. That's what he was doing. He was
Okay.
sending Shaquem doxed information about
Mm.
April, and Shaquem was using that on his show, and that's why they was going back and forth, and that's why April started fighting that to Kip. But Anti always being the mother hen of everybody that she's trying to protect, right?
Mm-hmm.
She sent April. Well, Gerald sent April the information about Kip's son. But if they looked
Right.
up Kip's son, if they looked up Kip's son at that time, which by the way
I
was
think that's
not
what it
in.
was.
Hold on, let me
That's what they was
finish. Let me
bothering him
finish. Let
with.
me finish. If they looked up Kip's son at that time, right, who was not in
Mm-hmm.
the sector, who was not and who was not talking shit about April, who was not talking shit about anybody, if they looked up his son, they absolutely looked him up. So they absolutely know
Absolutely
what the
did.
fuck I seen. And I know
Because
what the fuck I'm looking at.
they've
I'm
been
looking at
trying,
it right
like
now.
you said, that whole clip where they had the whole thing where Afros Megali was exposed by Mona with that email where she said that she was going after me and KKC. That was from 2020. So that means she started going after people since 2020.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this in particular for Kip because of this
Yeah,
particular situation that's happening with Kip and his background right now,
yeah.
right?
That's what
That's
it
what I'm
was. I
specific.
believe that's what it was. I couldn't
Right,
really
but I'm
remember what the
hold on,
fight
let me
was.
finish. Let me finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm specifically talking about Kip and exposing him right now
Mm-hmm.
and how the AFWs knew about him. I'm not
Right.
talking about you,
No, no,
KKC.
no.
We
It was
already
definitely
know.
him.
We already know about all that. What I'm
Yeah.
talking about is how they were aware.
Mm-hmm.
They were aware of this man being a convicted pedophile
Yep.
when they brought him on the team. They were aware of him being a convicted
Oh, wow.
pedophile.
You're right.
Okay. When they took him in as an AFW, they already knew he was a convicted pedophile because they pulled his criminal history at the same time they pulled his son's criminal history.
Yep.
And they gave his son's criminal history to April, but they held on
To
to
that one.
Kip's criminal history. So
Mm-hmm.
she's been fully aware of this convicted pedophile
Yeah.
being on her team as an anti-fraud warrior in that criminal organization for at least the past 4 years. Well, 5
Yeah.
years because it's been since 21. Okay,
Since
that's all I
21.
wanted to know. Yep.
Yeah, that's what she do. She attack people and she hold information on them. But she couldn't find no information on me and KKC.
No, I
So
don't want
she
to talk
jumped
about
over
you and
that.
KKC.
No, I'm
I
saying
need you
she
to
jumped
understand why
over
I'm
that
saying
and
this. No,
went in.
Bernice, I'm
Yeah, I
saying this for
understand
a
what you're
reason.
saying.
But hear
But
me
she
out. Hear
jumped
me out,
over it.
please. Please hear me
Mm-hmm.
out for a reason.
Yeah.
There's a specific reason I am not talking about you and KKC. I
Oh,
am
okay.
talking about Kip because
Mm-hmm.
Kip is the one who they knew was a convicted pedophile. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he is a part of this criminal organization.
Wow.
This is the reason why Kip is it looks like this is the reason why Kip is skipping out on court right now. It's because he is a convicted
Wow.
pedophile and he has been stalking and harassing this man and his minor daughter.
Daughter.
That is why he doesn't want to go. He's going to jail. He's on his way to prison.
Wow.
So that it's not that I don't
It's
care
some
about you and
serious. No, I know
KKC.
that.
It's
I know
just
that. No, I
we're
definitely know
not
that.
talking about that right now. This is
Yeah, I know.
on.
This
You know,
is
you
some
understand?
scary
Okay.
mess.
Okay,
Yeah, I
yeah.
definitely understand that. I was just saying how she has a habit of, like how you were
Well,
saying, she
I know that
befriends
we already
people
know that, but
and
that's
then
not
she
what we're.
tears them
Yeah,
down. And
right.
then she gets all this information on people. And I believe that's
Exactly.
what she's doing with like you said, with Stargate and breaking the culture. She has
Exactly.
something on them to keep them, doing crazy stuff for her. And
Well,
it's
now they all got to make a choice because this is who y'all fucking with, and I
yeah.
want him to. I want him to say it's not him. I want him to say that. I want you to say it's not you, sir.
He's not gonna say it. He didn't
No,
even want to
he's
say
going to
why
say
he
it.
didn't go to the
He can't
restaurant.
help himself. He can't help himself. I don't care what Breaking says. I don't care what Stargate says. I don't care what Anti says. I don't care what Rev G says. I
Right.
want to hear Kip say. I want to hear Donald Paul Winters, born May of 1970, tell me that this isn't true. That's what I want you to do, sir. That lives
There
in
you go.
Loganville. I
There
want you
you
to
go.
tell me that shit ain't true, sir. Not
Hmm.
anybody else, not your friends. I don't want to hear from the smoke god. I don't want to hear from none of them. I want to hear it from you, sir, saying that it's not true.
With no stuttering
With
and
no
backtrack.
stutters.
No
Mhm.
stuttering and backtracking.
Say it with your fucking chest, sir.
That's it. Well, I'm gonna let you go, sis, and let you in your show. Thank you for having me
Okay,
come up.
sweetheart.
I'll
All
talk to
right.
you
I
later, babe.
appreciate you coming up. All right.
No problem.
Okay. All right. And let's see. Hold on. Okay. So make a change. I did read that. Okay. So I thought you were saying something else, but let me tell you, okay? Nobody said there's a warrant for his arrest for the TP. What I said is, and if you listen, right, because I know y'all want Triggs to lose so bad, right? Listen, this is why you have two ears and one motherfucking mouth, right? So you can hear, okay? He's not going, I didn't say there would be a warrant for his arrest for the hearing for the TP. There would be a warrant for his arrest for missing court, okay? For not showing up to court when he knows about an actual court case that he is scheduled to be at, that a judge has ordered him to attend. That, my friend, will have him held in contempt of court for not appearing. Failure to appear. That is what I said. But so quick to try to get Triggs down, right? This is what you're saying without paying the fuck attention to what I said. And this is why some of y'all look suspect. Anyway, anywho, let me get through these comments. I see everybody's kind of talking to each other. You said they don't want issues to end. They love doing what they love, and they love hurting people. Exactly. They don't want any resolve. They literally want to continue to do this. They want to continue to keep up the bullshit, keep up the nonsense, and all the shit that they've been doing. They literally want to keep doing that. There is no intention for them to take anybody to court, anybody to jail, none of that shit. They just want to entertain the sector. They want sector clout from 5 internet trolls, right? From 10 people, right? And that's it. That's literally what the fuck they want. And now they're gonna have to work that out with a court. You said I love history, especially the right side of history. Okay? Just saying. Just saying. You said, wow, there's actually 2 different dates of birth under the same name. This shit is wild. There is. There is. There's 2 different dates of birth. There's 2 case numbers. There's 2 dates of the crimes. 2 dates of the convictions. Hmm. Yep. Yep. That's how he was able to fly under the radar. You said we need to find out if he's on the registry. I agree. And see, here's the thing, Darrell. This is the beauty of the people of our sector. And this is one of the top things about the sector, I'd like to say, right? Even though we were talking about the things that we do that allow people like this to fly under the radar, but one of the things we also do that's positive is we don't be looking into people's shit. Nobody thought to look up his background, right? The way the anti-fraud warriors did, the LLC, the criminal organization that Donald Winters is currently working under, that looked him up, right, and put his son's information out and also was aware of his convictions, right? None of us did what they did. We didn't go looking into his criminal history and looking up his background and trying to find information on him and trying to dox and harass him and all this. We didn't do any of that shit. That's also why we had no idea whether he's on that sex offender list or not. We don't know because we haven't looked. Even April never looked. All she knew about was his son. Thanks to the AFWs, right? Hmm. You said what? You said, is this for real or content? This is crazy. I would never, ever in my fucking life accuse somebody of being a convicted pedophile and it's not true. I would never do something like that. That is a serious crime. That is a serious charge that could seriously change and ruin somebody's life. You know, I would never, ever, ever, ever accuse somebody of something like this if it wasn't true. Yes, I'm looking at the background currently as I'm talking to you, and I see it with my own eyes. And like I said, I want this bitch ass nigga, I want him to say it's not true. Not your friends, not none of your cronies, none of your bitches, none of that. I want you to fucking say it. Say it with your motherfucking chest, bitch. You said real. You said he just needed a few cans of butter beans, tea free. He said, Brixton, my understanding is real. If you are arrested and charged, it becomes part of public record. Any member of the public can look at your record if they know where to look. Exactly. Who's the chomo? He's both of them are chomos. They both chomos. Now the question is, why y'all keep aiding and abetting these chomos? What is your agenda for why you keep doing that? And it is funny that Stargate is the type of bitch that's always talking about somebody's children, right? And these are the type of people that they hanging around. You bitches better make a choice. You said, interesting. Fair enough. You said, so basically, Kip's been fighting for his son because all the charges were really against him? Yep. Well, I'll say this. Both of them have charges. And both of them have convictions for the same shit. These are facts. You said, before you threw them stones, Kip, you should have checked your back motherfucking yard. I told you bitches, every fucking time you dig a grave for somebody else, you always dig a bigger grave and a deeper grave for yourself because your fall is going to be heavier and harder. And sure enough, judgment has come. Yes, sir. You said, of course she knows. She already got a video in the chamber ready to go. Once he crosses her, look at all the people she did videos on who she fell out with. These are facts. You said, I'm going to look, Prizzle. You said, I'm going to look, Prizzle. I might have that clip. I might remember him saying that. I remember him saying that. Yes, he absolutely said that. It bothered my fucking soul. And I remember it bothering my fucking soul. I remember me saying something about it. I'm pretty sure I did a video responding to it because I was so disgusted by it. And I never forgot he said that because it doesn't make sense for a man his age to say something like that. Not a man his age with grandchildren, multiple grandchildren. Why would he want to be living in a house with a woman who's childbearing? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. That's predatory. Period. What's up, Queen Sparkle? I appreciate you. TMK, you said I will be reviewing a recent criminal record out of gracious host who got busted boasting out of Macy's last month free. If you decide to hit a mall, can you get my full length black leather coat? No. Bombay, I'm gonna go ahead and get that leather coat for you today. Okay, let me go ahead and get that. You need a flat screen too. You know, remember the old big flat screens that you can roll out? You got to roll it out to the parking lot. I'm gonna get you one of them too, okay? Because you know you an old head, okay? You need the old type of TVs, right? The one that don't hook up the cable, okay? You need that one. You need the one where you can put the antennas on there, okay? Ciao. Hey, we on lock. I appreciate you being in the building, bro. You said P, honey, hey, hugs. You said, I wonder if that's why he was buying her all those shoes and bags. Exactly. Right? Right. When his wives got divorced from him, you know, because he was accused of domestic violence on all three of his wives. Did one of those, I want to check the dates on those divorces and these child aggravated molestation charges as well. I want to check the dates on those because I wonder if it's the wives that left him behind these molestation charges, right? Because he had three of them. So was it they had daughters or sons, right? And he was molesting these kids because the aggravated molestation is what I want y'all to look at. I want y'all to get an understanding of what that is. Because I had to get an understanding of what the fuck that is. And it is horrible. It is horrifying what it means. Horrifying. It's not just excuse me, y'all. It's not just child molestation. It's aggravated. Okay. Mm, mm, mm. He is a sick fucking monster. And these AFWs, Anti and Gerald, they knew it. They knew he's a sick monster. He said a weirdo on TikTok and a predator. AMS have disgusting fucking friends. Okay. Just saying. You said energy finds energy. Okay. You said just like she knew about Star being a deadbeat parent. Exactly. She knew Stargate paid child support. Stargate was the deadbeat. Stargate was the one who was not raising the kids, and Stargate's kids don't fuck with her. She knew that the whole time. She knew that the whole time. You said Virgo loves teddy bear hugs. You said TT, my sunny bunny, how are you, darling? Everybody's saying hi to each other. Hey, I'm no joke. You said, hey, T-Pre, everyone. Wow. So it's father and son? Nah, why Anti wants to separate herself now? Exactly. Right? Why you want to separate yourself from them now? Why you want to act like it wasn't me looking up anything? It wasn't me. Right. It wasn't. Photop. Except for what she admitted to looking up, which was when she admitted that she looked up that address that Triggs gave, right? And then she had you pull it up on your panel, right? She admitted to that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hold on, guys. This is you said police report versus convictions. Big difference. Exactly. He has been convicted. Not just he was reported, Not no charges were filed. None, no, he was actually convicted. And like I said, Kip, if I'm lying, take me to court, right? Or just simply say I'm lying. But it's got to come from you. It's got to come from you. I don't give a fuck about what none of your stupid ass, dusty dust bucket friends have to say. I'm talking about you. I dare you to tell me that's not you. You say, yep, T Pre, tell the truth. You said, are they standing behind Kip? Are they debunking this? I haven't been keeping up. I don't know. I haven't so far I haven't heard anybody say anything. Yesterday, Photon's channel was eerily quiet. Eerily quiet. You said, and all the attention is on Triggs? Exactly. All this for some traffic tickets, some information about him and his baby mama, shit that ain't got shit to do with anybody in the sector. But this whole time, them AFWs have been sitting on a convicted pedophile on their team. Convicted. You said, why did Kip ask for the paperwork that Raw B showed from Photon screenshot? I'm a bit lost as to whether he's denying or it or not explaining anything about these allegations. When he was on the panel with Photon, he specifically said, I know what happened. I was there. They just want me to explain it. That's what he said. Instead of saying, that's not my paperwork. There's no paperwork anywhere that says I have a child molestation charges. There's no fucking paperwork on me like that. Period. So if somebody came up and said that shit, I'd be like, you fucking lying. That's not true. Bottom line, that doesn't exist. That would have been the answer. His answer was, I know what happened. I was living there. I know what happened. His answer was, I was living there. I know what happened. They want me to explain it. I was there. They want me to explain it. That was his response. So you shouldn't need a screenshot of anything. You shouldn't need to see it. You shouldn't need to be there and explain it. And you know what happened. If you know what happened, then you know something happened. And what happened was, according to these records, is aggravated child molestation, and statutory rape. And you were convicted of all three charges on the same fucking day. You, not your son. Because the other charge and the other case number that has your son's date of birth was on February, a couple days later. So my question is, are you and your son tag teaming kids? That was my question. But again, I don't know. But I know what? I know you and your son have two separate charges on two separate days with two separate fucking cases. Two separate case numbers. How coincidental is that? How coincidental is that? That a son and a father would be convicted of the same child molestation charges within a week of each other. Within a week of each other. In the same year, with two different case numbers and two different dates of birth. Yours being the first one in January 31st, 2010. Your son was either February 2nd or February 4th or something like that. Say it ain't so, Kip. Say I'm fucking lying, Kip. Say I'm fucking lying, Donald Winters. Say I'm lying. 10 years, but we're in about me. Exactly. They worried about you 90 years, right? This nigga facing at least 10 years. At least. It's very deep. You said you call the doxing on all sides. This is why Smoke is back to find out what the group was really about, because I did not know what I got myself into dealing with you all. Slander, I appreciate you being in the building. New charges that he running from, but he wants to criticize you. Exactly. While he's sitting here running from charges at the courts, right? You running from the courts right now. You was running to the police, literally running to the police. With that type of background, you were running to the cops, recording probation and parole officers, recording, boards, people on boards and stuff with probation and parole, posting police information online, doxing, harassing people, threatening judges, threatening probation officers with, if they don't do your dirty work, then this is what you gonna do, and you gonna do this, and you gonna do that, all while you're a convicted pedophile, a convicted of aggravated child molestation. Aggravated. Please don't look it up, guys. Just understand what aggravated child molestation is. And you were convicted. But he wants to criticize D. Durrell over Medicaid. Over Medicare billing. He wants to criticize Triggs over traffic fucking tickets. Anti wants us to be up in arms over Medicare billing and traffic violations. But yet her friends, one of her friends, at least one of her friends, is a convicted child molester. And like I said, I triple dare you to say it's not true. Now I'm learning how things have been working over the past 5 years behind the scenes. Bernice is low-key a sector historian. Smoke didn't know anything about no pedos. You all know Smoke is totally against that. I thought that doing big man and you all came against me for that. 100 Smoke. I know. I know you don't know. I know you didn't know. But I want you to remember how you and Anti fell out to begin with. How your spirit had always exposed that bitch. You've never been, down with that shit. Y'all just had a common enemy. And because of that common enemy shit that we've done around here in this sector, this is what the fuck happens from that. But shout out to you for knowing. You've been knowing. You've been knowing for a minute. You just had to hear this. You had to hear it from a person like me, a person that fucks with you. You said, so you all know you cannot come and smoke. Smoke didn't know any of this. I'm not coming at you, Smoke. You said, Kip on the scope. No, Kip on the scope. And what's up, Sage Therapy Chair? Appreciate you being in the building. To be fair, trolling aside, Smoke has stood on principles when it comes to kids, etc. So it's not hard to believe Smoke didn't know. I know he didn't know. I would not be cool with a nigga like Smoke, which most of y'all don't know. I fuck with Smoke. That's my dog. I know he didn't know. What's up, Shakim? Appreciate you being in the building. Yeah, it was Bernice up here. You said, Brixton, nah, bro, I'm not on that with no kids and nothing, bro. I don't got nothing like that on my jacket. I respect you for that. I understand we have our differences, but nah, man, I don't roll like that. Exactly. She thought Glow was the weakest link. hmm Everybody's saying hey to each other. That has always been AAS MO. If you see she's going at some hard, she has their information. If she's going for someone hard, exactly. If she's going for somebody and helping and assisting and aiding and abetting them, right? It's because she knows who you are and she has your shit. She has that shit on Kip. She been knowing that Kip is a pedophile. He said, Bricks, bro, I still got little kids. Anybody do anything to them, you would not be living in 24 hours. That's on everything. I'm not trying to allege anything. I'm just telling you. Yeah, I know. You said just because you didn't know, you know now. So my question is, does this change how you rock with that person? If you say no, that tells me everything I need to know about you. A charge I caught that y'all docs me breaking that flower pot was overprotecting my daughter. And the judge agreed with me and dropped the case. Yeah, I knew a nigga that shot a nigga for his daughter. I know a nigga that shot a nigga for his daughter. He is still walking these streets today. You understand? Period. He says, Smoke, I hear you, brother. As fathers, that shit goes without saying. Exactly. He said that guy died last year, a year later. I bet. I bet, because karma is a motherfucker. Karma is a bitch, ain't it? Smoke. It's funny. I'm so thankful that you got up out of this shit when you knew. Your spirit told you, God told you get the fuck up out of there. You ain't you. This ain't for you. This ain't your battle. You knew a long time ago. But I get it. You and Triggs, y'all got y'all little whatever, right? Y'all need to learn how to keep that shit on YouTube and not take it off of YouTube. And I know you wouldn't do that, but you've been doing this with Kip, not knowing that this is who you was fucking with. But now you know. You said, Lorna, some shits you don't have to know to see how foul folks are. So that all of a sudden I didn't know is, well, I know, but I think he didn't know. You said, Bricks, yeah, I admit, caught that charge. I had to go to court, but it wasn't over nothing foolish, strictly over my kids. Okay. You said, I'm going to be, okay. Back to wife. He said, my Trinidad impersonation upset him probably. He said, if she turned on Lennon, Kip, don't you think she will turn on him? I don't think Kip knows or cares. I mean, this is a convicted pedophile we're talking about. I don't think he knows or gives a fuck. And these are facts. You said anti turned on Lemon. What? What happened? No, Lennon. She means Lennon. Very serious. You said Lennon honor, not lemon. You said I can't wait to see the bird's reaction to real charges since she holds fake statements at such a high standard. Right. Like I am very excited to see Starbird just flopping out like all over the place, like the way the way you did that video. I'm looking forward to seeing her acting like this, and I'm looking forward to seeing like, I mean, for me, I'm hoping that we can use like there will be some court transcripts and stuff we can go over and stuff in the sector, because child, that would definitely be some fucking content. Okay. I definitely want to go over Stargate's her court case. I would definitely want to go over Anti's court case. Max V will probably pick up Anti's case. I want to go over photons. I mean, I want to see all of these bitches. There's a couple other people. I'm gonna be quiet, right? Because I know you mentioned some folk. You said there's some other folks you're not mentioning. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing some of these folks in there. I'm telling you, this shit's gonna be hilarious. Okay, but you're doing a great job, Triggs. And if this is a troll move, this is a hell of a troll move. But I don't think you're dumb enough to be trolling somebody with a fucking actual real judge. Okay, so he said, "Smoke, that's your man's. Nothing to say." Child, listen. He said, talking shit to me about a food truck, and he a whole chomo. A whole chomo. You said, Real Tay, how can I speak on another man's charges? I agree with you on that. I don't think you owe anybody an explanation about that. I don't think you knew about it. And so, therefore, you can't explain somebody else's shit. But I'm glad that you will publicly denounce that. And that's all we can ask him for. And that's what he's doing. And so, I'm comfortable with that. Other people may not be. I don't know. You might get some pushback, right? Just based off of fucking with these people. But at the end of the day, I fuck with you. I don't think you knew at all. You said my Ray, love and sunshine. You said P. I had to look up that word after watching your replay this morning. Man. You said real tape. Oops. Okay, sorry, thank you. I gotta get ready to get out of here, guys. You said you spoke on Triggs charges, smoke. So what's the difference? Well, you said good morning all. Hey, YouTube Unfolded. Appreciate you being in the building. He said smoke can only govern his own life. I don't have that on my record. That's all I can say. But my stance remains the same that I do not stand for pedo activity. Facts. And I know you don't. I absolutely know you don't. You said DMO. You said, hey, YouTube Unfolded. You said, Real Tay, the difference is Triggs disrespected my wife and started making fun of me for no reason. Okay, and I hope you guys figure that out because again, it's trolling, right? Everybody be trolling each other, but this taking it offline is not cool. And then now, look, now not only has Kip exposed the AFW's true agenda, he exposed himself and everything. He exposed this whole thing just by not being it when he didn't show up for those. It was weird that he's dodging service, right? If he's claiming that he's such a victim and whatnot, why would he be dodging service on this? He would be running to the courthouse, right, to try to get not only get answer for this, but also he would be running there to try to get the same type of order against Triggs because he claims that he's the victim. He claims his son is a victim, all this other stuff, right? Which, mind you, his son, and if his son and daughter aren't actually filing charges against Triggs, I don't really know why Kip would have a leg to stand on anyway, because they're grown. Okay. You cannot do anything for your kids unless you have like jurisdiction over them. Okay. And it takes a hell of a lot to get a judge to give you that over an adult child. So I'm not sure, like, that just also goes to show that Kip obviously wasn't in his kids' lives, because the way that he's talking about taking care of them and helping them now is so displaced, right? Like, if you were in your children's lives and you were supportive of them that whole time, you would be aware of the fact that you ain't got no control over anything going on in their life right now. So if they needed the police and all this, they got to call them. If they needed a protection order and all this stuff, they would have to initiate that. Okay. Not you running to the cops and getting information and all this. They would have to do it. Okay. That's exactly what goes on with people with grown children. That's what the fuck we know. Okay. So I'm not sure, other than the fact that you was never in their life. And so now you're trying to overcompensate for that is what you're doing. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay. But either way, yeah, sounds like you were tag teaming with your son, for little girls. That's what it looks like you was doing, which is ridiculous. Just ridiculous. He says Triggs made his choice to go for smoke, thinking I was okay. All right. I'm not in now that beef. You said there's no difference. They both got charges. You said, whoa, married 3 times and all domestic charges? Yes. Yet all 3 of his wives divorced him over domestic violence charges. And I'm going to go back and look at those dates because I'm wondering if he actually, um, was able to, I wonder if this is surrounding it's anybody in those marriages. I'm really wondering if it's surrounding any of that. But like he said, yes, like Donald Paul Winters Sr. said, or the second, or whatever he is, his father is Donald Allen Winters, and he's Donald Paul Winters, and his son is Donald Paul Winters. So if he And then he got another son named Donald Winters as well. Like that's crazy. He has two sons named Donald Winters. And then it's him, and then his dad has the same name. It's weird. He's just a weirdo. And him and his son are the sick ones. I think his father is too. I'm not 100% about that one, but I know about him and his son. Just fucking sick, right? Mm. You said Kip and you said real take Kip and kept having came at me, so I'm not going to say anything, and there's no pressure from you all that can motivate me, right? You said real take you have never had interest in all the other things that happened to Smoke and wanted me to speak on it, so why now? He said, like I said, I have a right to handle this like I want, and I choose to handle this probably, and I will move on properly, and I will move on. All you can do is respect how I feel about it, and I do. You said he denied the fact that the info Raw dug up on Rumble was not him, like he categorically said it wasn't him. He's a motherfucking liar. I'm look listen, the addresses that was on that are also on this background. They are. That house he had that he sold, and that's all on here. It's all on here. I'm looking at it right now. Mhm. You said not applying pressure, just stating the facts. We get it. Stand up, stand for your man. Okay, all right. You said, Real Tay, if that was the case, you all wouldn't have turned against me when I spoke out against Big Man, when I showed the receipt that he sent me about, right. I remember that. He only claims one marriage. He even married three times. And these are facts. You said SMH again, energy finds energy, good, bad, or indifferent. I knew something was effed up about them folks. SMH, child, it's amazing, right? He said Smoke knew about Kip. I hope Tiff P never had that man around. I know that she, called this man her friend. I hope you never had him around, honey. I hope you never brought that man around and never brought him around your children. You said, "Oh, sorry, Smoke. You still talking to me? This ain't about Big Man. Clearly, he left the sector, but Kip is here now." Okay. You said, "Darrell, no, I didn't." You say, "Yeah, you nigga." You said, "Darrell, it bothers you that I'm really chilling in real life." Okay, y'all. Have mercy. You said, "But knowing this shit and y'all still effing with him, don't advocate nor pray for my ass." Okay. Child, this is way too much. Okay. You said if he didn't know Darrell, he knows now and is still okay. I don't think he's defending him, and I don't really want to get into the me and mine stuff either. You said smoke and mirrors. You said Smoke knew about it. He didn't give a damn. Okay, y'all. All right, let me see. You said damn, and they don't have their kids, or kids don't have anything to do with them, or their families ain't fucking with them. Don't do F shit. Perhaps your folks like you for you. Okay, just saying. Just saying. Say it ain't true. Say it's not true. Principles. You said I'm telling Detective Shears. You said Ray laughing my ass off. I'm just chilling on the balcony, honey. Okay. All right, y'all. So I'm about to get out of here. You said, what is going on, child? Listen, I'm just going to get through these comments. I don't really necessarily want to do all that. I don't, y'all. I don't, y'all. He said, because his page says different. Child, you said a question. If you are an adult in the house with someone who commits SA on a minor, can you also be charged if you didn't engage but was aware? Serious answer, please. You could. Yes, you could if you were aware of it. You said, and so does the community wall. You said when he gets out, he just did a doxing live last week. Child, child, listen. You said smoke solid. He didn't know. Yeah, I don't think he knew either. Um, he said 100 trigs. He says so now peeps want to be blind to the other stuff. It's laughable at this point. I mean, but my thing is that there's a couple of folks that you could say this about, right? For example, let me give you all an example. of that, right? Because I agree with you. I do agree with that, right? Like we can't ignore that, and that's been eating at me. Okay, that's been eating at me. Those that know that shit has been eating at me. Okay, there are people who have made up with Triggs or have become cool with Triggs, right? But have not acknowledged that behavior, right? They haven't acknowledged some behaviors. There was one thing in particular I remember where money was requested from Triggs, right? To avoid releasing a video of him spending time with his children. All in the name of hating this man. Not that he actually did anything to y'all. Not that he actually did anything illegal to you. He just roasted you. And because he roasted you or roasted somebody you like, these are the levels that y'all took this shit to. With this convicted pedophile that y'all were cool with at the time. So y'all play a role in that. And so I understand. It's just that Smoke, you just happen to be in the chat right now, right? But there's others. There's plenty of others. There's a few of y'all. There's the Gates, there's the Allens, there's the Coreys, all of y'all. But now that this is all happening, now it's like you want to get away from it and you want to like say something. But you can't say that all this time y'all did not notice this man's behavior was already inexcusable. The shit he was doing was wrong. Bottom line. So this whole idea of taking sides and being on a side and all that, what side? What are you talking about? Right is right and wrong is wrong. Period. Y'all can't deny that. Is it wrong for Triggs to be roasting y'all? I don't know. I don't think so. We've been playing the dozens all our fucking lives, black people. What are y'all talking about? This is the shit we do. So was it wrong for Triggs to roast you? I don't think so. But if you have a problem with him roasting you, stand up like a man and tell him. Have a conversation with him. Perhaps he will be like, all right, man, I'll ease up on you. I'm gonna stop, whatever. But the roasting should have never got to this level. And all of y'all that I mentioned, y'all play a part in aiding this convicted pedophile to behave this way. Y'all do. Y'all might be not fucking with him now, right? Y'all might have a problem with him now, but y'all can't deny that his behavior was questionable to begin with while you were fucking with him. This ain't man-like behavior. Y'all know that shit. So I agree with Queen Divine on that. We're not going to pretend. I like Smoke. I don't think Smoke knew about any of this pedophile shit. But we can't pretend Smoke, Gates, Corey. We can't pretend, Allen. We cannot pretend that the money team, right, that P is calling a criminal organization, which, by the way, it could be. Because if y'all got a convicted pedophile as the leader of y'all group, and he has been passing and distributing this man's information where his daughter lives and everything else to all of you grown-ass men, and money distributing that shit amongst you men, you also could be in some shit. So yeah, you might want to say something, right? You might want to be like, yo, this is crazy. I get it. Corey has definitely had a conversation with Triggs. I get it. Gates definitely said something about this bullshit yesterday. I saw Alan jump on Robbie's panel and try to snitch all over Kip, but then the next day he's Uncle Kip again. You niggas need to stay off the fucking drinks, right? The beer, and clear your fucking head. Drinking at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and 2 o'clock in the afternoon and shit. During the week. Y'all need to get off the fucking substances. Because these substances got your head all cleared, all clogged up and saying all types of shit and standing for fuck shit. Y'all want to hear from the ladies, right? We're telling you. So yeah, she's right. Every single one of y'all play a role. Photon. Every single one of y'all play a role in aiding and abetting a convicted pedophile to stalk and harass a man and his minor daughter. All while y'all are grown-ass men. Y'all want to be connected to a nigga like that? Shout out to Divine. You said, D, that would be interesting, being how close they were, and details show they did about everybody else. It was a lot of information that was posted on your wall and on your channel. And I can't even tell you take it down, right? Like, because it's too late. It's too late. Y'all should never let the hatred of your brethren get you in a position like this. Putting family members on community walls is not solid. I agree with that. I agree. He said, thank you, T Priest. She said she the only one that understands. I understand, but I also get where they're coming from. Right? I get both sides of it. You know you my dog, Smoke, but I get both sides of it. Y'all did play a huge role in this. Kip would not have had the wherewithal or the balls to even go live on his own channel currently if it hadn't been for you and for Photon directly opening up y'all panels to allow this man to spit this nonsense to the sector, because the two of y'all just happen to hate this man. So it's true. He said he spoke on Triggs, humble king, grown man. Now he got morals. He says, so we're doing a selective doxing principles? I can't. He said, cool, he didn't know, but that doesn't negate the other fuck shit them folks did and have done. So that's me. And I agree. He said, I have the documents on Kip and I'm going live later tonight to speak on it. Okay. All of it. Okay. Yeah, I got him too. That's why I'm saying I triple double dare this nigga to say it's not true. I triple dare you. I triple fucking dare you, sir. It's absolutely you. Now, all of you AFWs, you women, right? The breaking the cultures, the Stargates, the antis, right? Anti, you can sit down, but breaking and star, what do y'all have to say? Because you can't no longer say you stand on the side of truth and honesty and nobody's a pedophile and nobody's, you can't say that because it's the truth. And all you can look it up yourself. It's not like it's private. This isn't private record. This is public knowledge. And I'm looking directly at his actual background history. I'm not looking at a screenshot that somebody sent me. None of that. None of that. I'm looking at the actual criminal history for Donald Winters. Donald Paul Winters, and he has a couple of little aliases. Donald D. Winters, Donald Paul Winters, Donald P. Winters, Don P. Don Winters, Don Paul, Don D. But the date of birth is the same. That date of birth is the same. I would never make some shit like this up about anybody. You said D, and I'm willing to set alarm to be there. No, I'm definitely gonna be there. You said, Darrell, what time? 9:45 p.m. Okay, so that's 9:45 Central Time. So it'll be 10:45 Eastern. Okay, and y'all do the math for the rest of that shit, cause child, I don't live over there. Okay. Only time I'll be looking that up is when I'm talking to my granddaughter. Okay, that's it. You said I didn't do shit to the pissy pedos kids. Exactly. You didn't do nothing to them. Nothing. And the hatred that y'all have had for this man, the hatred that y'all are allowed to not like him, right? I'm not saying anything about that. Y'all are allowed to not like him. People are allowed to dislike people. It's one thing to dislike somebody. It's another thing to try to stalk, intimidate, humiliate, and harass them and their actual minor daughters. That is this that is, and you're a convicted pedophile while you're doing it. This is sickening. Sick. You said I can't believe Kip with the history that I saw in the documents would speak on anybody. Any anything. I cannot believe he has been speaking on anybody's criminal history. He has been showing anybody's body cam footage. He has been talking about anybody going to court. I cannot believe this. Other than Romans chapter 1 is the only thing I can think of. That people are blinded by their own iniquity. It's the only thing I can think of. You said, cool beans. Hey, D, you're trying to get into rotation shits. Do you know about the running HR joke? Okay. You said, I not get your notifications, Darrell. I will go hit the notifications. Hey, Hoodie, I appreciate you being in the building. You said, uh-oh, exposing Triggs. Got that reverse Uno card played. Okay? I said it. Y'all know this. This is an old saying that everybody's grandmother has told them. Right? Clean up your own backyard before you try to sweep around anybody else's. You understand? Sweep off your own front steps before you try to sweep anybody else's steps. Right? If you're digging a grave for yourself, if you're digging a grave for somebody, be sure to dig a grave deeper for yourself. Bigger and deeper. Okay? These are things our grandmothers have said to us, our parents have said to us. These are things we know. Exposing that man for no reason. For no reason. It would be one thing if it was for a righteous reason, but it was for no reason. Got you fully exposed, and it put all your tea out here. All your motherfucking tea, honey. Now the whole sector about to see it. The whole sector about to see this. You said, hey, hoodie. You said, Triggs, you made that nigga draw for. Okay. Hey, Pills, I appreciate you being in the building. You said, shout out to me for kicking AFW to the curb before this was exposed. I'm the real winner here, retired. Now, I hope that you can also, because I don't remember you doing any doxing. I can say that. I don't recall you doing any doxing or anything like that. But I'm glad that you did drop them AFWs, right? And, I hope that you stay out of fucking with them. I hope that you never ever fuck with them again. Promise me, Pills. Okay. You said me told me years ago that this was Pissy's info. Oh, okay. Okay. I thought we did. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna call her today because I thought we did um talk about that shit. I thought we did. I thought the sector talked about it, right? I thought we talked about it, sector. But like I said, let me tell you what them anti-fraud warriors do. As soon as they're about to get exposed on something, right? Or they are currently in the process of being exposed, watch what happens. While this is being exposed, they're coming up with something right now to throw a red herring out here so that we can all be looking at something else. We can all be distracted from this and go somewhere else. This is what they do. Watch, one of them are going to try to come at me, come at Raw. Well, one of the girls going to jump out the window, start breaking. One of them going to come. Watch what fucking happens. They are currently trying to work up a scheme to get us all distracted. This is what they've been doing for years. So she probably did. And I thought I remembered a conversation about this. But here we were fighting over something else within 24 hours to 48 hours. And we completely forgot about it. Now we done moved on. Now we done lost sight of it. This is what they do. This is what they do. So I think you're right. I'm gonna talk to her today. You said, Pills, you be apologizing to the queen next week. He better not, man. He better fucking not. I'm gonna have to fight Pills if he do that shit, man. You said Ray Triggs, LOL. Nah, not this time. Yeah, this is the full exposure. It's exposure time. You said, Pills, you gonna have that man back up there. Watch. He better not, man. Hey, Sal, appreciate you being in the building. You ain't missed nothing. You already know. That nigga's a convicted pedophile. That nigga has been convicted of statutory rape. He was convicted of aggravated child molestation and child molestation when that nigga was 40 years fucking old. Yes, he was. He was convicted. And his son was convicted maybe 3 or 4 days later. You said Hood reacts. Nah, with this exposed, he's going to have to prove it's wrong. Info first. Exactly. He's got to prove that. You said, why is Hawkspick looking for Grace over here? I don't know. You said, Keeper, hey girl, make me understand, child. You said, Keeper. You said, I hope not, Pills. You said, that can't be in your circle. It cannot be. None of y'all can afford to continue to fuck with that nigga. None of you can. Not a single soul of you. Not a Allen, not a Gates, not a none of you. He can no longer be Uncle Kip to you. Allen. Bottom line. Or unless you're perfectly cool with pedos being on your team. I will wait. Since you want to call Ray kids, what you gonna say about Kip? Because we're so far all this evidence that y'all pulled up about Ray, right? All this stuff that y'all pulled on him, all the doxing that y'all done on him, y'all ain't pulled nothing even close to anything like that on him. Not even close. Not even down the same path. Not even down the same aisle. Not even looking down the same type of genre or nothing. What are you going to say about him, Alan? About your Uncle Kip? who has been convicted. And like I said, you can look it up yourself. You ain't got to take my word for it. Please, as a matter of fact, don't take my word for it. Please look it up. Since that's your uncle. And now you have an obligation to do so as a man. Not only to protect yourself, but to protect your wife, Alan, and to protect your daughter, to protect your sister, Alan, since you're so concerned about your sister's protection. You were using a convicted pedophile to help you protect your black sister. Corey, a convicted pedophile was trying to help you protect your daughter. You've already said your part about him, so it is what it is. But Alan, what are you going to do? Gates, I know you talk your shit to him. I know yesterday what you said. But are you going to stand on business with this? Stargate breaking. What y'all chicks going to do? Y'all going to stand on business? Because y'all been saying y'all so concerned for children's safety and families' safety, women's rights, children's rights. What are y'all chicks going to do? Anti, you already knew. You already knew this whole time. Gerald, you already knew this whole time. Keeping it pedo, yep. You said, and to call you an extortionist while he's a pedophile, convicted pedophile. Slander, you said DC, hey darling. You said damn Smoke, that's your boy. Child. You said DMO, why does Slander get more G's on his hugs than mine? You know what? You said, hey DMO, I'm not really here. I'm gonna have to retract my statement. Hey Devil's Tales, appreciate you being in the building. He says some people's hey Mind Chaos, appreciate you being in the building. Some people's reputation in the sector is being the baddest roaster. Anyway, loves y'all. Back to the clouds I go. Shout out to you for being here, sis. He said, Hoodie, that panel's gonna hit different the next time going forward. Okay. Okay. I mean, they could get up and yell and scream on Photon's panel all day. It is the burden of proof is on y'all to prove it's not true now. Prove it's not true, right? Because this is a serious allegation. I'm putting out a very serious allegation, right? So if I'm lying, he should be moving and shaking something. As you like to say, Rev G, make something shake. If I'm lying on you, let's see. Let's see if I'm lying. He said Kip gonna go live yelling from the top of his lungs, okay? Screaming. Losing his fucking voice and shit. Don't nobody give a fuck. He said before I leave the clouds, Hood reacts, you hear and see this shit? Yeah, they see. He said Keeper, like who will, but I remember, child. Jeans facts. You said right, Keeper. You said Triggs. You said this whole problem. You said I don't know what you're saying. This is a whole problem. This a million times worse than Darrell defrauding Medicaid or Medicare or any of that bullshit, right? Way worse than any allegations like that. These are actual. Those are allegations. These are actual convictions. You said hearing Pissy yell, "We winning!" Gonna hit different now. Exactly. Hawkspit, Doc Spottum. I remember this. Fuck shit, but I digress. He said Kip tried to buy me. Salute to the sector for supporting and making that not even a possibility. Okay? Period. Salute to Pills too, who wouldn't take that nigga's money to go run stupid little errands and shit like that. Y'all got telling you, y'all gotta take responsibility for that. I know y'all are. I know y'all are, but it's still, if we're gonna talk about smoke, we gotta talk about it all. Because all of them were involved in the same shit. They all aided and abetted this bullshit. Even if, because Smoke is trying to say something now too, right? Um, but yeah, they all aided and abetted this shit. You said Photonica renamed Fopedia. It's gotta be Fopedia at this point. If he does not denounce this shit publicly, it's over. Nobody's gonna fuck with you. Nobody gonna fuck with you. And it's already bad that P is playing clips of you saying some really weird shit at your age. It's already bad. So, you might want to go ahead and take a look into that. You said DC SMH all money. You said DC yo. You said if this is true, there's no way to spin it to make it acceptable. Exactly. And it's, look, y'all welcome to look it up. I know Darrell's gonna show the paperwork tonight. You said Raw G and Cell. You said, hey, T Pre. Hey, Redbone. Appreciate you being in the building, sis. Everybody saying hi. You said Buttercup. Hey, sister, darling. You said they'll try, Mrs. Merv. I think they're going to try. That's why I said I triple dare, double dare this nigga to say it's not him. Double dare. You said anyone who spends it has questionable morals. All of y'all are down with the pedo shit if you don't denounce this shit. Now, I would suggest, right? Because I'm not going to show the paperwork unless I have to. But I would suggest that you guys look at the paperwork before you go live and talk shit, Photon. Okay? Because this is real. Okay? So far, everything y'all have wanted to not be real, and getting this legal advice from anti-Afro has been fucking y'all up. Okay? So this is 100% real. This is real documented evidence. And you need to check the evidence before you go live and let these weirdos give their opinions about this. You need to know what you're looking at first. You need to study the information before. That's what good journalism is, right? That's what good journalism is, Photon. Not just somebody handing you anything and you just post it. That's reckless, that's childish, and that can get you in some serious legal matters at this point. Because again, this is a convicted pedophile who you would now be aiding and abetting in harassing and stalking a minor daughter, a minor girl, and her father. So let's see if you want to keep this same energy. You're welcome to, and think that this is some win and some lose for us. I don't know why y'all are in this mindset of a win and a lose in some battle, and we all on some battlefield fighting each other. You dust bucket bitches are fighting alone, and you're fucking yourself up. Like literally, you're literally swinging guillotine swords and whooping your own asses. That's what the fuck is happening right now. Okay? Period. We all on the sidelines with popcorn watching y'all fuck yourself up. Period. On God. All right, let me get through these comments and then I gotta go. I gotta go. You said sometimes folks just need to learn to shut the fuck up. Okay. What's up, RNT? Appreciate you being in the building. You said I said earlier those folks need to keep that same energy for this bitch, for this ish. Just saying. You said, oh, I'm going to keep roasting. Yeah, I mean, if y'all don't like each other, that's one thing. But this offline shit is fucking y'all up. You said Star Cook, it's a wrap. She's not gonna want to defend it. I hope she don't try to defend that shit, but you never know fucking with her. But that bitch is a demon. You said unfolded. Do you got extra seats for me? You said Buttercup, this is the shit. You said exactly, Mrs. Murph. Now folks want to talk about I'm not involved. I didn't know, but your whole page is still full of it. Right. You said, I can't wait to hear the bird say, well, what about Triggs choking women? Yeah, he might have molested that little girl, but what about Tiggs choking women? You stupid ass bitch. But Tiggs took the women. Tiggs, he owes child support, but it don't matter that he molested this kid. This man owes child support. That's what the fuck she's gonna say, cause she's so fucking stupid and slow. You said now we want us roasting as now we want to use roasting as an excuse, child. You said sorry y'all, I'll be typing on the go, no worries. You said you surely don't roast pedophiles. You team up with them, Smoke. Let me call Chris Hansen. Uh, tired of you niggas. I'm just saying. You said I ignore you, Smoke, until I need to react. Please continue. You said Smoke, you gotta eat this one, bro. You got lined up with the wrong dude. He gotta go, Smoke. And that's the truth. You said shout out to all the men with facial hair. You said Buttercup laughing my ass off. You said I never came for you. I spoke on your rubbish because clearly you can't comprehend what you've taken a part in. Exactly. Hey me. Appreciate you being in the building. You said, yeah, I'm here. Keep my handle off your fingertips, freak child. Oh shit, you done woke up the beast, man. You done woke up the sis. You said, right, Hoodie, he's gotta be the bigger man and face this head on. Man, that man the fucked up Smoke and say, hey, I was wrong. You said that smoke fucked up Smoke and say I was wrong. You said again, brother, take your funky ass to court and don't break no flower pots this time. You said Sweetums hugs. You said Miss T. Hey, beautiful. Appreciate you being in the building. You said, and I agree with you on that, T. I don't apologize for coming at Triggs. Well, the problem with that is, Smoke, that the issue that you coming at him with is stalking and harassing him, and you're somebody who's been who's a convicted pedophile and somebody who's being held to that standard currently on a current court order and is in current violation of that court order. This is what you guys are helping, aiding, and abetting currently at this time. So you need to think about that, like while y'all arguing back and forth in the chat, and whether or not this whole roasting him is even worth all this. I don't know if it's worth you being involved. You said here comes the spamming. You said beautiful. You said girl parking in the 20. Hey honey, okay. You said though manning up ain't a term this nigga can do. Bitch tendencies is strong with these niggas. Kendrick Lamar, they not like us. They not like freaky ass. Okay, okay. Run for your life. Shit. That's what the fuck Kip doing right now, running for his life. You said nobody was messing with that man, and you know it's Smoke. And it's true. Like y'all have grown this hatred for him, and it's so toxic. It's so unnecessary, and y'all have forgotten why. Even if this man was roasting your wife or roasting somebody else, or it doesn't matter. It never should have gotten to this level. That's the point. We've gotta pull it together. We can't just keep letting everything somebody say just bother us, right? These are facts. These are facts. You said they gonna send Musty Smoke. You know what? Mashonda Knight after you. They gonna send Musty Mashonda after y'all. You said do anything get back to them, even team up with pedophiles. You said do anything get back to them, even teaming up with pedophiles to get revenge. I knew you was this type of nigga. It's a damn shame. You said Kip was trying to manipulate Tiff P too. Yeah, that's why I wonder. I hope she never had him around her kids. You said, hey T Pre, take that comment down. I'm not here. Sorry, y'all. Have a great morning with that. I'm anti screenshot. So he says slander stall out Mashonda. She's given a script to type in every chat. Bless her soul. Okay, bless her slow soul. He said timing is everything, Pissy. Just saying. You said birds of a feather flock together regardless of gender. Okay. Hey Steph, I appreciate you being in the building. You said DC noted already, darling. You said, hey to Steph, Honey Bunnies. Man, that Honey Bunny song is wild, man. You said YouTube unfolded. And Steph, you said drama gets the last fucking laugh. Ain't that a bitch? Drama gets the last laugh. Drama and Triggs get the last laugh. You said he'll be okay. Broton will pay the lawyer bill like he pays for everything else for him. Yeah, we'll see. Because I think Photon will probably be able to come up with the. If out of all of them, I think he might be able to come up with the legal fees. The family will, if they help him, they would help him. They got a couple dollars. You said props to me for giving him the boot in 2023. Okay. You said Star gonna say it's not true. Of course she is. That's why I said. That's why I specifically called them out because I know that they're gonna say it's not true, and then they're gonna get embarrassed, and that's just what it is. Like y'all should just not say anything at all. If you don't know, right? But if you want to say something, go ahead. You said, yep, that's exactly what they're going to say. You said, any man that essays a child is not a real man. Well, that's a fact. You said, I am curious about Star and that pretender Muslim. If the excuses roll off of her tongue so easily for a pedo abuser, what is she hiding? That's a very good question. That is a very good question. And it makes you wonder why she's always thinking about somebody's children, why she's always talking sexually about people's children, right? Different things like that. Making jokes about sexualizing children and stuff. And then the fact that she got duped by this quote unquote Muslim who wasn't even a Muslim, right? He was pretending just to dupe her. He used that as an excuse to dupe her. Because any real Muslim, I'm gonna tell y'all, I have studied and I have taken my Shahada. Okay, so I have studied the Deen. I know the Deen. Okay, and I know the Deen for myself and Allah, and had nothing to do. Okay, with a man, he would have never approached you like that to begin with. A real man on his Deen would have never approached you like that. He would have went to your Wakil or your Wale. He would have spoke to one of them about you. He would have found out if you were even with somebody to begin with, and then he would have went through them to even try to court you, and they would have to be present while he's trying to court you. These are the things that would have happened. You would have never been in a position like that. You weren't covered. You had no covering, and that is ridiculous. As a woman, as a Muslim woman, there's no way you were even trying to marry a Muslim man because he would have never approached you that way. He would have never. I was disgusted when I heard that shit. And shout out to Raw B because she broke it all the way down. She broke that shit all the way down. It's a fact. Everything she said is a fact. Yeah. So Stargate didn't know what she's talking about. And I know even Muslim men, they married that some of them married Christian women. I know a Muslim that had married a Christian woman. He's been married to her for over 40 years. An older man. They own this store in Wilmington. And yeah, so they married Christian women as well, right? And they're able to do that. But he still would have approached you a very different way, right? And that whole idea about having other women and other wives and all this other bullshit, you would have been the first wife. You would have been married to him, okay, already on paper. And then you would have had to approve of another woman coming into that relationship with him. And you also would not have been having sex with that woman at all. There is no homosexuality in Islam. Period, honey. Now, anybody's welcome to feel offended by that, but it's a fact. So, yeah, Stargate did not know anything. And so if she was able to get duped that easily by that man, I can only imagine what type of shit he was actually doing. And she had her minor daughter, only one of them, in the house. The other daughter was living with her father. Her father wasn't having that shit. You said, good morning, Miss TP. Hey, Clark, appreciate you being in the building. You said, I didn't roast his wife. I roasted Mark Henry. You know what? I can't with you, Triggs. You said, is he on parole? Who? I don't know who you're questioning. You said, I have to replay. Okay. No problem. Yeah, we about to get out of here, y'all. You said, Ray, see you when you start. See you see what you started. Laughing my arse off. That damn song was in my head all damn night. SMH, I kind of bopping. It is kind of bopping after a while. LV, appreciate you being in the building. You said the no facial hair at 50 plus was definitely suspicious. Suspicious, honey. Child. He said, Clark, LV, hey, sweethearts. Okay, y'all. So we're about to get out of here. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any comments. You said there are behaviors between genders that is very controlled. Exactly. You said fake Muslim running game on a broke clown is hilarious. You said let me refresh as it is buffering. Okay. You said woo. You said Ray, honey. For me too. Oh, it was buffering. I hope everything's good now. Hope everything is good now, y'all. I hope y'all can hear me. Okay, so she said refresh. Okay. All right, you said I hugs yours for real. Here's the fake hugs. You said T Pre, she was a child herself. That is true. That is true. Easily duped. Yeah. No, well, so not in the situation with the Muslim man. She wasn't. She was a child with the baby's father. She was not a child with the Muslim man. Both of her daughters were born by then, and they were at least she was at least in her mid she was at least in her late 20s when that happened. So she wasn't a child when she was with the Muslim man, but she was easily duped at times. You said this is the 10-year guy? Yeah, this is the 10-year guy. That wasn't from her childhood. There's multiple men. So that wasn't the one where she was a child with. The Muslim man is the one that she was with when after her daughters were adults. So yeah. He said, OMG, that makes it worse that she was not a minor. Exactly. Exactly. She was a minor when she had her first child, but she was not a minor when she was dealing with the Muslim man. Both of her daughters were older by that point. All right, y'all. Well, we out of here. I do appreciate everybody for being in the building. We will be over at D Durrell's tonight. Y'all make sure y'all go over there and make sure y'all give him a good like too. Make sure y'all hit the like button on the way out, guys, and share this out as well. That way we can get this out into the algorithm. And yeah, it is what it is. Kip, you are a convicted pedophile. I say that with confidence and with my chest. And like I said, you ain't got to like it. I'm pretty sure you don't like it, right? Which is why you've been denying it and why you've been trying to show somebody else's background check on their traffic tickets and traffic violations. And Anti is running around here, you know, throwing it down our throats that these are actual convictions and serious criminal charges, right? But do you have anything to say about your friend's convictions? Their child molestation and aggravated child molestation convictions that you've been aware of, Anti. Since you doxed his son, you doxed him too. You've been aware of this, you and Gerald. So, what are y'all going to say about this now? You know? And that's my thoughts on what I've been thinking, y'all. I do appreciate everybody for being in the building. Make sure y'all do hit the like button on the way out. And yes, guys, we will see each other around somewhere. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace, guys. And thank y'all again for watching.